I found, I found some juicy stuff, Coralie, about starting a business. So I haven't just had time. I'll probably do that this weekend. And so I will make a note to myself right now.
Did that stuff from your previous manual help, Gary?
Yeah, it helped a lot, actually. There's a lot of good stuff there.
Yeah.
Thanks for reminding me, V.
That's what I'm here for, to remind you all the good stuff you've already created.
I know. It's like I can't even remember anymore. It's like, well, I don't know.
Good old accounting record keeping, make sure I keep everything. So
Yeah,
That
that's
is
funny.
awesome.
My thing from last week was our brothers are forgetful. That is why they need us. All over the place.
Yes. I need
perfect.
forgiveness, Carly. I need forgiveness. Yes, your brother is quite forgetful, but it's not as if I don't have a lot of balls in the air. So I'm kind to myself.
Yes. How did the rest of the week go, Coralie? With your
I actually found with that it was true on a lot of levels, and even just for myself and myself, that I'm forgetful and need me. Yeah.
Yeah, very true, that one. Mine
Mm.
was attack is never discreet. And yeah, I had a pretty calm week, even though a few people let me down. It was like I had stuff going on.
Good.
Yeah.
Mine was he calls upon you to love God and his creation. So I gave it a whirl. I had a big trigger happen for me. It's so tiny and stupid, it's not even funny. And Collie probably heard this already, but I was on a plane coming home, and I have this pet peeve that when you're deboarding a plane, you're lined up in rows, and I always stand up as soon as the belt's off so I can get my luggage down. I'm ready to, go towards the door so I can get out of there. And then inevitably, someone will, from the opposite side, get up after I get up and then step in front of me. And it annoys me to no end. Just annoys me. And so I kept thinking, okay, this is a pattern that I need to break. It's not right. It's kind of silly and stupid. And so it was this little Asian woman. And so I was like, okay, Gary, when it's time to go, you step aside and you let her go before you and say, after you. So I'm all like determined to break my pattern, determined to break it. And so the time comes to go, and she looks at me, she goes, oh, please, after you. And I'm like, oh, that sort of busted apart my assumption. So it was just so silly, and it was kind of beautiful, actually.
Mm,
Um, yeah.
mm.
So I was loving her standing up on that plane, waiting for her to transgress my territory so I could think bad thoughts. And I decided I wasn't going to think bad thoughts. And then she showed that grace to me. It was lovely.
Perfect.
Yeah, it was good.
Um, Very nice. I had this is true communion, sonship, and then to appreciate that. And what I found, hopefully you can hear me. What I found with mine was last night I did a speech at Toastmasters, and I've only just been going for about 4 weeks or 5 weeks. Um, and so it was my second official speech, but it was a thank you one to someone important, which happened to be a relative who was very outspoken in her advocacy when her husband became Prime Minister in the early 70s in Australia. And so this woman, basically, I was inspired to speak on her. And when the lady critiqued me, because at Toastmasters, they critique you at the end and tell you what you did wrong. She mentioned my hands were clasped, and I'm thinking, I don't know what she's talking about. I hadn't actually started yet. And so I questioned her afterwards so I could get clarification. And she said she was taught that you should stand there with, if you're waiting for a whole minute for the group to get settled, just have your arms down by your side open. And I'm thinking, well, I've never been taught the rules of what Toastmasters want. And I thought how interesting if I hadn't asked, because my whole speech, everyone commented to me or in their next speech how it impacted them. And I was speaking from the oneship, the sonship, the communion of what Holy Spirit designed. Even though I knew this woman in her parts, it came out in the flow Holy Spirit wanted. Does that make sense? And so basically, when she said the hands, and I'm thinking, what on earth is she? I don't understand. Because there was no other critiquing because she couldn't pick on any other parts. But everyone else gave me feedback. Like I sat down and the man next to me said, that was a great speech. Like he said it, like without looking at me. And I'm thinking, okay then. Because I was in oneship, and half the time when I'm in oneship, I don't know what it looks like as I do it. Like but the other man commented and said the energy was the impact, and the whole room again went to peace as soon as I stood out the front. Nice. And held the space and then spoke. And so the true communion for me is that peace when we're fully in our oneship, speaking the words like Gary mentioned yesterday in our other program, how important our words are and where they're coming from in that oneship. And so that was the impact I recognised and received out of my words this week. Nice. And my action I took.
That's great. Well done, Kelly.
It was sort of a surprise as well, because like I said, it's like I don't even know exactly how I'm putting it together. I'm just in presence. And so it was a surprise as well to have those feedbacks, because it was my intention that people feel the change for themselves.
That's an accomplishment, Kelly.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
For your first talk, that's a real accomplishment.
Yeah, that was my second one. Last week I did one as well. But yes, it is, because yesterday I mentioned speaking from freedom, and when my mum passed a few months later, 6 weeks later, I had this visceral feeling of being totally free from the constraints of the family lineage judgment. And so now I'm just in no judgment of self. I just get up and speak freely. And it's like some sort of, and so, yeah, it is an accomplishment, because there's no way in all of the years I was bullied that I would ever get out the front of a group. But I heard from the Holy Spirit about 5 weeks ago, all I heard was the words, go to Toastmasters. And so I did. 2 days later, I went and checked it out.
Brilliant.
Well, that is literally, that's the fastest way to get clients, is to present.
Yeah.
It's the very fastest way. People become more intrigued when you're able to do public speaking. So take advantage.
And the guy that's fantastic at public speaking, he even said in his next speech following me, he said how I had this incredible impact to bring the audience into this oneship, but he didn't use that word, peace. And he wished he could bottle it. So it was good.
It's awesome.
I remember my first public speaking course I did with you, Gary, and it was my turn to do it on the one we did it. I think it might have been a whole week thing, or it was a weekend thing. I can't remember, but I couldn't do it.
I remember.
Yeah, I couldn't do it. I ended up sitting in the corner crying.
I remember.
It took me like 4 or 5 goes of doing courses to actually be able to get up and speak. And yeah, Carly, that's just, you got it in the one. It's just like you just got to talk from your heart and not worry too much about your script. And I mean, so with Gary, I learned a lot of tools, but I was a bit overwhelmed by all the tools. It took a long time to integrate them. So yeah, just to get up and speak, and then if all they can pick up is you're clasping your hands initially, then
Yeah, I
go,
thought that
girl.
was very interesting. And then the timekeeper, it was a 3-minute speech, and I did 3 minutes and 1 second when I
Well
decided
done.
that was it. And he
Wow.
congratulated me, and then he said, "Do you know what? I could listen to you for hours." And last week when he timed me, he turned his timer off and forgot to tell me my 5-minute, 6-minute timing. And I talked for 10 minutes, and they were just in this like awe of peace. And basically he this week said the same thing. He would have listened to me for hours. So I thought that was really cool to
That
Yeah,
is
have that
cool.
kind of impact.
yeah. Well done.
That's very cool.
Yeah. Linda, you haven't been able to give us your lesson for the week. Have you been doing anything specific? Oh, she's busy working now, by the looks of it. So, shall we
Hello?
go on? You there?
Hello? Yeah?
Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, sorry. So no, I haven't kind of kept up for the last 3 weeks, but I'm going to do a pre one, and it was something that Gary, oh shit, sorry. It's something that Gary said before, was about breaking the patterns,
Hmm.
breaking how you do things. So that's going to be my pre for this week.
Okay.
And I'm interested to see what comes up in the book.
Yes. All right. Let's get to it. So we did number 3. Oop. I'm reading Ayn Rand at the moment. I bought the book on Kindle. It was like $2 or something, and I'm 7% through, and it's 129 hours left to read.
Oh boy. How
But it's
big is
very
the book?
engrossing. Well, I don't have the book, so I don't know, but 129 hours worth of reading. This is only 66 hours, so that's interesting. Left, according to the bottom there.
Good Lord.
This is the danger of book club. It's like, oh, okay, so I'll read a book for book club, but I want to read that one too. And one of the ladies was really interesting, and she got us to read Ayn Rand last year. It was Fountainhead, which wasn't as big, but I just found her writing was just so fascinating, and her descriptions of the characters are just phenomenal. So I'm sure I can do it.
You can.
I can. All right, we're up to number 4 on that one.
Oh, do you want me to start, V?
Yes, please.
Number 4, the ego cannot afford to know anything. Knowledge is total, and the ego does not believe in totality. This unbelief is its origin. While the ego does not love you, it is faithful to its own antecedents. I'm not saying that.
Antecedents, I think.
Antecedents. Yes,
Yeah.
antecedents. Begetting as it was forgotten. Mind always reproduces as it was produced. Produced by fear, the ego reproduces fear. This is its allegiance, and this allegiance makes it treacherous to love because you are love. Love is your power, which the ego must deny. It must also deny everything this power gives you because it gives you everything. No one who has everything wants the ego. Its own maker then does not want it. Rejection is therefore the only decision the ego could possibly encounter. If the mind that made it knew itself, and if it recognized any part of the sonship, it would know itself.
And it never will.
Mm. Hi, Jane.
Hey, Jane.
Buddy. Great to see everyone.
Good to see you too. We've only just started on number 4.
First paragraph.
Yes.
Does anyone have any questions about this paragraph?
I just love the ego cannot afford to know anything.
I know.
Mm.
Because when I was a teenager, I often would have a thought, wonder why that happened. And then I'd experience it in some form, either witnessing it again or with my own family or with myself by just questioning it. And it wouldn't be a positive thing. It'd be something I'd say. And as soon as I questioned it in my curiosity, in my mind, instead of not needing to know, I created it.
And how
Anybody
many
compelled?
relationships are based on ego rather than love? So it's about, okay, I'm doing what I'm supposed to do, and this is love, as opposed to actually feeling it.
Mm. Yep.
Can you repeat the question?
What's that?
Can you repeat the question, or was that a question or just a statement?
Kind of a bit of both. I don't know if other people experience that, but I've certainly, and I think I've been in that situation as well, where it's not about love. It's because I'm doing the action that I should be doing, therefore it's love, but it's not. It's just,
Mm.
Yeah.
and that doesn't bring joy. It doesn't bring energy. It's kind of, it's a have to, which I've been really good at have tos.
There, you're not alone. I have been awesome at it.
I'm getting much better. I get to now. I'm looking forward to. Yeah.
I'm excellent at its cousin, which is the not doing the right thing, but being a caretaker.
Mm.
You
Obligation.
know, looking out for others at maybe at the expense of what my needs are.
Mhm.
You know, just yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, the actual paragraph is pretty clear for me.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're all good with it then. We might power through this one.
Yeah, it just says love is your power, which the ego must deny.
Mm. Yes. Who wants to read number 5? It's a nice short one.
I'll do it. I like short ones.
Yeah, go Curly.
The ego therefore opposes all appreciation, all recognition, all sane perception, and all knowledge. It perceives their threat as total because it senses that all commitments the mind makes are total. Forced, therefore, to detach itself from you, it is willing to attach itself to anything else. But there is nothing else. The mind can, however, make up illusions, and if it does so, it will believe in them, because that is how it made them.
So it's pretty straightforward. Gary, you look a bit confused.
No, I
No?
thought it was pretty simple, short
Yeah.
and simple.
Yes. Do you think we're just getting better at reading these?
I think we are.
I think
Yeah.
so. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just going to move the page up. And who wants to read number 6?
Hey, Linda, can you mute yourself? A lot of the wind is
Oh.
coming through on the mic.
Sorry, I thought I'd already done it. Apologies.
No,
Okay. Can you still
who's
hear it,
taking
Gary?
Not anymore. Yeah.
Number 6. Who wants to do number 6?
I'll do 6. The Holy Spirit undoes illusions without attacking them because he cannot perceive them at all. They therefore do not exist for him. He resolves the apparent conflict they engender by perceiving conflict as meaningless. I have said before that the Holy Spirit perceives the conflict exactly as it is, and it is meaningless. The Holy Spirit does not want you to understand conflict. He wants you to realize that because conflict is meaningless, it is not understandable. As I have already said, understanding brings appreciation, and appreciation brings love. Nothing else can be understood because nothing else is real, and therefore nothing else has meaning.
I love this one.
I especially love the Holy Spirit undoes illusions without attacking them.
Mm.
I like that too.
Yeah.
Mm.
There's some gold in here. I'm just typing some out. Somewhere in there, I think, is my weekly lesson. I don't know yet. Might be number 7. Maybe I'll read number 7. If you will keep in mind what the Holy Spirit offers you, you cannot be vigilant for anything but God and his kingdom. The only reason you may find this hard to accept is because you may still think there is something else. Belief does not require vigilance unless it is conflicted. If it is, there are conflicting components within it that have led to a state of war, and vigilance has therefore become essential. Vigilance has no place in peace. It is necessary against beliefs that are not true and would never have been called upon by the Holy Spirit if you had not believed the untrue. When you believe something, you have made it true for you. When you believe what God does not know, your thought seems to contradict his, and this makes it appear as if you are attacking him.
That last sentence is a bit confusing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm feeling the same way.
You mean that when you believe that God does not know, your thoughts seem to contradict his, and this makes it appear as if you're attacking him. I love this bit because when you believe something you have made is true for you, when you believe that God does not know, but God knows everything.
So
Yeah.
you've made that
That
true for
makes-
you. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Mm. And I think when it says, and this makes it appear as if you are attacking him, it doesn't appear that you are attacking him from his perspective, it's still from your perspective.
Yeah.
Or from a bystander's perspective.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm. Do we need to sit on that, speculate on that one, or should we move on to number 8?
I'm
Number
good
8
with
is-
moving on.
Yeah, I'm good.
Jane, do you want to read number 8? Can you read that?
Sure. I have repeatedly emphasized that the ego does believe it can attack God and tries to persuade you that you have done this. If the mind cannot attack, the ego proceeds perfectly logically to the belief that you must be a body. By not seeing you as you are, it can see itself as it wants to be. Aware of its weakness, the ego wants your allegiance, but not as you really are. The ego, therefore, wants to engage your mind in its own delusional system, because otherwise the light of your understanding would dispel it. It wants no part of truth, because the ego itself is not true. If truth is total, the untrue cannot exist. Commitment to either must be total. They cannot coexist in your mind without splitting it. If they cannot coexist in peace, and if you want peace, you must give up the idea of conflict entirely and for all time. This requires vigilance only as long as you do not recognize what is true. While you believe that two totally contradictory thought systems share truth, your need for vigilance is apparent. Does that seem like it's coming from every which way?
Yes.
Well, I think it's pretty, you've got to be committed to peace, because if you want peace, you must give up the idea of conflict entirely and for all time. Just, it never is a solution.
It still goes back to choosing to see through the eyes of oneness, because it ultimately, the idea of separation is what causes all the conflict.
Yes. Which goes back to the previous paragraph, understanding brings appreciation and appreciation brings love.
Yep.
All that and understanding, being curious and asking questions without judgment. Sorry, makes me dizzy when I do that. Got to move it up.
Coralie, would you like to read?
Sure. Number 9.
Yep.
So, yeah. Your mind is dividing its allegiance between two kingdoms, and you are totally committed to neither. Your identification with the kingdom is totally beyond question except by you. when you are thinking insanely. What you are is not established by your perception, and it is not influenced by it at all. Perceived problems and identification at any level are not problems of fact. They are problems of understanding, since their presence implies a belief that what you are is up to you to decide. The ego believes this totally, being fully committed to it. It is not true. The ego, therefore, is totally committed to untruth, perceiving in total contradiction to the Holy Spirit and to the knowledge of God.
These seem rather clear rather than convoluted, except for one paragraph.
Yes.
I'm not understanding. The mind is dividing its allegiance between two kingdoms, and you are totally committed to neither. Well, I thought the two kingdoms were fear and love. Yes?
Yes.
Mhm.
So why is it saying you are totally committed to neither?
Well, the way I took it, Jane, is we're reading the Course of Miracles, therefore we're seeking. So we're not committed to being
I
fearful
see.
all the
I
time.
see. Oh,
We're
okay.
we're committed to seek, but we're not committed to oneness because we're still playing with the ego. We really are divided, seeking
Right,
God, but not 100% committed to it.
right. Okay. I get that. Makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I've got a picture of in my mind reading that of like people who are so in touch with who they are that their life looks simple and they achieve things with what looks like little effort because they're so in tune with who they are. And then there's people like me who do all the have tos and force and which I'm getting better at. But yeah, I know that my life has been a lot of that. It's like forcing things. I have to do this, and it happens, but it's a struggle. But I can see people in my mind that I know who just are so in touch with who they are and are very humble and just manage to get things done and manage to get where they want to go. That's what I kind of, and it helps me to kind of see people like that because then I have some name for. I can see how it works and it's not magic. It's and some people do this so unconsciously. But I don't think many people do. Who wants to read number 10? If we're happy with that one.
You want to do it, V?
Okay. You can be perceived with meaning only by the Holy Spirit because your being is the knowledge of God. Any belief you accept apart from this will obscure God's voice in you and will therefore obscure God to you. Unless you perceive his creation truly, you cannot know the Creator, since God and his creation are not separate. The oneness of the Creator and the creation is your wholeness, your sanity, and your limitless power. This limitless power is God's gift to you because it is what you are. If you dissociate your mind from it, you are perceiving the most powerful force in the universe as if it were weak because you do not believe you are part of it. Joe snuck in too.
He did.
Yes. Hi, Joe.
I see. Hi, everyone.
I love that last line. It says, if you dissociate your mind from it, which is God, from it, you are perceiving the most powerful force in the universe as if it were weak, because you do not believe you are part of it.
Mm.
And if you think about the times that each one of us, sort of gets weak and small, is because we really do believe that we're not this creative force, that we're not one with the divine, that our word is not powerful, and we shrink.
Mm.
Oh,
It just amazes me how like the ego tries to make us bigger, but it's just making us smaller.
Always, always. Joey, do you want to read the next one?
You might be driving. Oh.
I suppose I could. I'm just taking my notes over here, trying to catch up. I'm not sure how much reading I missed.
We're up to paragraph 11.
Yes. Where did we start at, though? I wasn't sure.
We started at number 4, so we're powering through today.
Yeah.
Perceived without your part in it, God's creation is seen as weak, and those who see themselves as weakened do attack. The attack must be blind, however, because there is nothing to attack. Therefore, they make up images, perceive them as unworthy, and attack them for their unworthiness. That is all the world. That is all the world of the ego is. Feels like I read that wrong. Nothing. It has no meaning. It does not exist. Do not try to understand it, because if you do, you are believing that it can be understood and is therefore capable of being appreciated and loved. That would justify its existence, which cannot be justified. You cannot make the meaningless meaningful. This can only be an insane attempt.
Does anyone have any questions about number 11?
No, but I do feel like the attack must be blind, however, because there is nothing to attack. And it just, reading through this one, it just reminds me of when people are in fear and they're wanting to attack something, and it doesn't matter whether it's a single person or a nation against another nation or whatever. They are just attacking everything, and they're looking for something to attack. Trying to make something meaningless meaningful.
Sounds like the essence of war.
Yes.
The drive.
Yeah, exactly.
I think what's
Thanks.
tough about that, though, it's like it's saying that it does not exist, but it does, doesn't it?
It definitely exists in the physical realm for sure.
Yes.
So there's no denying that. However, in the ultimate reality, being the physical is not. I hate to say this, but when when you read these high level suggestions in the Course in Miracles or ideas in the Course in Miracles, and they say your body's not real, and I'm like, well, it sure feels real to me,
Yeah.
um, and the body's an illusion and all of that. But I do truly believe this, that in the state of a separated mind, which we're all in, um, everything looks and seems real and we identify as the body. But in the ultimate reality of it, we're immortal, we're a soul that travels on. This is just a blink in the eye of eternity, this lifetime. In the ultimate sense of it, that's the truth. But it doesn't seem like that when you're in the dream to know that you're actually dreaming.
Yeah.
And that's the conflict,
Mm.
because it all seems so real.
Yes.
Mm. Oh, well, look,
It's
such an uplifting first line on number 13. I'll go ahead and read that. It's so uplifting. In this depressing state, the Holy Spirit reminds you gently that you are sad because you are not fulfilling your function as co-creator with God and are therefore depriving yourself of joy. This is not God's choice, but yours. If your mind could be out of accord with God's, you would be willing without meaning. Yet because God's will is unchangeable, no conflict of will is possible. This is the Holy Spirit's perfect, consistent teaching. Creation, not separation, is your will because it is God's. And nothing that opposes this means anything at all. Being a perfect accomplishment, the sonship can only accomplish perfectly, extending the joy in which it was created and identifying itself with both its creator and its creations, knowing they are one.
I love getting to the end of the section because the last paragraph is always
But we didn't read 12.
Mm.
Oh, we didn't. I thought we did. Oh, I jumped ahead.
yes. Jane, do you want to
See
read
how
that?
you are. Eagle eye, Jane, eagle eye.
Yeah.
Who would like to read number 12?
I will.
Thank
Oh,
you.
good.
Allowing insanity to enter your mind means that you have not judged sanity as wholly desirable. If you want something else, you will make something else. But because it is something else, it will attack your thought system and divide your allegiance. You cannot create in this divided state, and you must be vigilant against this divided state because only peace can be extended. Your divided mind is blocking the extension of the kingdom, and its extension is your joy. If you do not extend the kingdom, you are not thinking with your creator and creating as he created. Wow. That just lays it right on the line.
Mhm.
It does. Mm.
When we're talking about the body not being real before, it helps me to think of the body as a messenger. That's all it is.
Yeah.
It's telling us if we're not heading in the right direction. And I kind of feel like this is also talking about that. So if you're not feeling the joy, and if it's all just drudgery, then it's not the right path.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Hmm.
Beautiful. Move page up a bit. Do you think we can squeeze in the beginning of this one, or shall we go to our weekly?
I think we could probably squeeze it in.
Sure, okay. I'll read that one. The totality of the kingdom. Whenever you deny a blessing to a brother, you will feel deprived, because denial is as total as love. It is impossible to deny part of the sonship, as it is to love it in part. Nor is it possible to love it totally at times. You cannot be totally committed to something. You cannot be totally committed sometimes. Denial has no power in itself, but you can give it the power of your mind, whose power is without limit. If you use it to deny reality, reality is gone for you. Reality cannot be partly appreciated. That is why denying any part of it means you have lost the awareness of all of it. Yet denial is a defense, and so it is as capable of being used positively as well as negatively. Used negatively, it will be destructive because it will be used for attack. But in the service of the Holy Spirit, it can help you recognize part of reality and thus appreciate all of it. Mind is too powerful to be subject to exclusion. You will never be able to exclude yourself from your thoughts.
Mm. I have to read the next paragraph.
Okay. I'll move it up a bit.
When a,
There we go.
when a brother acts insanely, he is offering you an opportunity to bless him. His need is
boy.
yours. You need the blessing you can offer him. There is no way for you to have it except by giving it. This is the law of God, and it has no exceptions. When you deny, you lack, not because it is lacking, but because you have denied it in another and are therefore not aware of it in yourself. Every response you make is determined by what you think you are. And what you want to be is what you think you are. What you want to be then must determine every response you make. Oh my
Mm.
God. Love that. Wow, wow, wow.
Mm.
That is my favorite paragraph so far.
Mm.
Great. I mean, that first sentence, like, just says it all.
Yeah.
It's like saying, okay, your brother's acting insane. It's a cry for help. What are you going to do?
Yes. And what you do affects not only your brother, but affects you as well.
Yeah. His need is yours.
Mm.
Wow.
Yeah. Cool. Well, what are we going to take away for a lesson this week?
Well, I have three.
Bring it on.
I got very greedy. So my first one was understanding brings appreciation and appreciation brings love. My next one is your divided mind is blocking the extension of the kingdom. My favorite one is when a brother acts insanely, he is offering you an opportunity to bless him.
Mm. I'm going to work on clarifying this during the week, but well, mine came up pretty early and it was undo illusion without attacking. Do not perceive at all.
Mhm.
I'm not sure what that means for me, but I do. That just kind of jumps out at me.
Awesome.
I'm going to close the screen so I can see your faces.
Yay. Your microphone seems to be a little funky, V.
Ah, does it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
it is.
Okay.
It's like you're talking further
Yeah,
away than you really are.
yeah. And it sounds like there's wind going across the mic as well. I thought it was Linda outdoor working, but it was actually your mic.
Because I couldn't hear it, so it's coming from me.
Yeah.
So I might have to pull out the little microphone thing that I hate.
Who's
Carly?
next?
Yeah, I was taking Gary's last one, that when a brother acts insanely, he is offering you an opportunity to bless him.
Yeah.
Jane? Oh, Carly, you look
Yeah,
pretty. Oh, sorry.
I like so many, but I'm putting it as I need the very blessing that I am offering to others. Because when you can see another's pain, flaw, well, it has to live in you, or else you couldn't see it to offer
Yep.
it. Yeah. Yeah. Hmm.
All right, mine's like Gary's. I love that appreciation, the understanding to go into appreciation and then love. But then I changed it because as we had so many, and so I fulfill the path of co-creating with God in one mind.
Beautiful.
Joey?
Well, you kind of read the one that I was gonna go with, so I'm skimming through and seeing if I can find something else, but nothing's really jumping
Why
at
don't we
me.
share, Joe? That would be good.
What's that?
Why don't we share? That would be good.
I'm going to, because nothing really jumped out at me. So, your divided mind is blocking the extension of the kingdom. And the addition I'm going to throw in is the rest of that sentence. And its extension is your joy.
Nice.
Beautiful. And Linda gave us one when we started. Can't remember what it was, but as long as Linda does, we can touch base on it next week. I'm not sure if she can talk.
Okay.
Doesn't look like it.
Yeah.
Alrighty. We're powered through this one.
Yes, well, I'm so proud of us. At this rate, we may actually finish it in 10 years.
Could it be that enlightenment is getting ever closer?
Perhaps.
Time. Okay, gang, you guys have a wonderful night, and we will see you
Yeah.
next week.
Yep.
Bye.
Thanks,
Yeah,
everyone.
see you next week.
Bye.
everyone.
Everyone.
Bye.
Blessings to all.